The anime community is at war with itself. The battleground, fan service, lowly tropes, and the sexualization of characters who look like children. On one side, critics are calling out series like My Hero Academia and characters like One Punch Man's Tatsumaki, accusing the industry of promoting misogyny and pedophilia. They're demanding censorship and for characters to be aged up. On the other side, defenders are firing back, claiming it's cultural erasure, an insult to Japanese artists, and that critics are projecting their own issues onto fictional drawings. This isn't just a Twitter argument. It's a fundamental clash over the soul of anime. Today, we're breaking down both sides of this explosive debate. Let's start with the side that's raising the alarm. For a growing number of viewers, certain long-standing anime tropes have crossed a line from playful to problematic. The central argument is that the persistent sexualization of young or childlike characters contributes to a toxic culture of objectification and, in its most extreme interpretation, normalizes deeply harmful attitudes. One of the most frequently cited examples comes from a titan of the shonen genre, My Hero Academia. The infamous onsen, or hot spring scenes, particularly those involving the female students, ignited a firestorm. Critics argued that placing these high school characters in suggestive situations for the sake of fan service was not only unnecessary for the plot, but also deeply uncomfortable. It felt, to them, like the show was catering to a voyeuristic gaze at the expense of its characters' integrity. This wasn't just a few disgruntled viewers. It was a widespread conversation about where the line should be drawn for characters who are explicitly minors. Then you have a character like Tatsumaki from One Punch Man. Despite being a 28-year-old adult, her small, childlike character design, paired with a revealing outfit and a petulant attitude, makes her a lightning rod for this debate. For critics, Tatsumaki embodies the lowly archetype, a character who combines childlike features with adult sexualization. They argue that her canonical age is irrelevant when her design so clearly taps into this controversial trope. The question they pose is a serious one. If a character is designed to look like a child, does it matter what the lore says about her age? And does that design, regardless of intent, cater to or even encourage a dangerous fetishization of youth? This is where the calls for aging up characters, or outright censorship, come from. Voices like user at JJSauce1 on social media argue that these are not harmless artistic choices, but misogynist tropes that need to be challenged. From this perspective, adapting anime for a global audience means taking responsibility for its potential impact and aligning it with broader, more progressive standards of representation. It's a call for the industry to evolve beyond what they see as a creatively stagnant and morally questionable reliance on fan service. But the concern goes deeper than just a few isolated scenes or character designs. Some critics argue there's a slippery slope at play, where themes and aesthetics once confined to the dark corners of hentai have slowly bled into mainstream anime. They point to the increasing prevalence of tropes that play with taboo subjects like incest, abuse, and extreme power imbalances, arguing that the foundations of some popular anime are, as they put it, sexually deviant. A key case study here is Fate Collide liner Prisma Ilya. While part of the massive and beloved Fate franchise, this series takes a sharp turn into magical girl territory, featuring a young Ilyasviel von Einsburn in scenarios that many find deeply unsettling. The show is rife with scenes that blur the line between affection and sexualization, often involving kissing and suggestive situations between its elementary school-aged characters. For critics, Prisma Ilya is a prime example of how the lowly trope can be pushed to its most explicit and uncomfortable limits within a mainstream adjacent series. When they raise these concerns, they often feel dismissed or even attacked by the fandom, leading to accusations that they are being gaslit into believing that what they're seeing isn't actually problematic. This feeling of being silenced is compounded by what they perceive as hypocrisy within the anime community itself. It's not uncommon to see a fan passionately condemn lolicons in one breath, while in the next, celebrating a series that contains its own questionable elements. The classic example brought up is Dragon Ball. Fans of the series might be quick to join an online mob against a controversial new anime, yet they often overlook the fact that the original Dragon Ball was filled with moments of casual nudity and suggestive humor involving a very young Goku and Bulma. Critics argue that this selective outrage reveals a fandom that is more interested in protecting its own sacred cows than in having an honest conversation about sexualization in the medium as a whole. Now, let's flip the coin. For every person calling for censorship, there's a passionate fan defending anime's right to be what it is. This side of the debate argues that the criticism is not only misguided, but also culturally insensitive and creatively stifling. The most prominent counter-argument is that Western critics are imposing their own cultural values on a Japanese medium they don't fully understand. This is the cultural erasure argument. Proponents, like users at Cat the Played 11 and at Cunny Fortress, argue that anime character designs, including the lowly archetype, are part of a distinct artistic tradition. They are not meant to be realistic depictions of children, but are instead stylized representations that serve specific narrative or aesthetic purposes. From this viewpoint, demanding that characters be aged up or that their designs be changed to fit Western sensibilities is a form of cultural imperialism. It's seen as an attempt to sanitize and homogenize a foreign art form, stripping it of its unique identity. Some even go so far as to call it an insult to women in anime design, suggesting that it implies there's only one correct way to draw a female character. This ties directly into the fiction versus reality divide. Defenders of these tropes stand firm on the principle that what happens in a fictional story should not be conflated with real-world morality or actions. They argue that enjoying a fictional character, even a provocatively designed one, does not mean a person condones or desires to enact harm in the real world. The accusation often hurled back at critics is that they are the ones who are unable to separate fantasy from reality. The argument is that by immediately jumping to conclusions about sexual attraction, the critics are the ones projecting their own issues onto the content. For these fans, a drawing is just a drawing, and a story is just a story. To suggest otherwise is to fundamentally misunderstand the nature of art and fiction. Furthermore, this side argues that the critics often lack a nuanced understanding of the very tropes they are attacking. The term lowly, for example, is often used as a blanket pejorative, but defenders argue that it's frequently misapplied. They would point to the concept of mo, pronounced mo, a Japanese term that is crucial to understanding this aspect of anime culture. Mo refers to a feeling of strong affection, adoration, and protectiveness towards a character. It's a feeling akin to wanting to cheer for someone or protect them from harm. While it can sometimes have romantic or sexual undertones, it is not inherently sexual. Many characters who get labeled with the lowly brush are, in fact, designed to evoke a mo response. The goal isn't to sexualize them, but to make them endearing, cute, and worthy of the audience's affection and protection. To reduce this complex emotional response to mere sexual fetish is, in their eyes, a gross oversimplification. These character archetypes also serve specific narrative and comedic functions. A character like Tatsumaki, with her adult power and childlike appearance and temper, creates a comedic juxtaposition that is central to her role in the story. Her design is a visual gag. Similarly, the onsen or beach episode, while a vehicle for fan service, is also a long-standing trope used for character development and downtime. It's a formula that allows characters to relax, interact outside of their usual high-stakes environment, and reveal different sides of their personalities. To remove these tropes entirely would be to remove a part of anime's storytelling language. So, where does that leave us? We have two deeply entrenched sides, each armed with powerful arguments and a passionate belief that they are on the right side of history. On one hand, a legitimate concern for the impact of media on culture and the well-being of its audience. On the other, a fierce defense of artistic freedom and cultural identity. The reason this debate is so explosive is that the stakes feel incredibly high for everyone involved. Social media has turned this from a niche discussion into a full-blown culture war. High reply threads become battlegrounds where accusations of gaslighting and projecting are thrown like grenades. Engagement spikes from hundreds of likes on a post defending a character design to thousands on a critique calling out misogyny. This isn't just a debate anymore. It's a content machine, and the algorithm rewards outrage. At its core, this is a clash between a globalizing world and a medium that is still deeply rooted in its specific cultural context. As anime becomes more and more popular worldwide, it will inevitably be scrutinized through a wider range of cultural lenses. What is considered normal or acceptable in Japan may be viewed very differently in the West, and vice versa. There is no easy answer here, no simple verdict to be rendered. So, what is the future of this debate? It's unlikely to go away anytime soon. We may see some shifts in the industry as creators become more aware of their global audience. We may also see fandoms become even more polarized, digging deeper into their respective trenches. But the conversation itself is a sign that anime is being taken seriously as a global art form, one that is worthy of critical discussion. And that's where you come in. This isn't a debate that can be settled by YouTubers or Twitter threads. It's a conversation that every fan has to have with themselves and with the community. So, I want to hear from you, respectfully. Where do you draw the line? Is this a case of Western overreach? Or is it a necessary evolution for the medium we love? And what does this all mean for the future of anime? Let me know in the comments below.